I say to myself, he's not winning another championship with the Lakers. I repeat, LeBron James is not winning another championship if he stays with the Lakers.
I
If he
wouldn't
goes
count
to
him out.
Cleveland, he has a much better chance. Realistically, you need the talent around you. I think Darvin Ham's going to be a good coach. I have a lot of faith in him, but there comes a certain point in time where you need reliable guys. Anthony Davis, you can't rely on.
Off season's
The
not over,
depressed
John.
asset of the off season's been dead for a while, my friend. The only guy they can get is Colin Sexton. They would need a lot of faith, a lot of luck from the grace of God to get Colin Sexton in this team. That's not happening.
They
It's
got they
just
got to
not.
they got to move. They've got something in the bag. They got something in the
And
bag.
the,
Trust me.
the the depressed asset of Russell Westbrook is
Yeah.
also an issue for this team. If he goes to Cleveland, that is one of the three best young cores in basketball. We have a borderline top six guard that can play off of LeBron. You have one of the best defensive players in the game in Evan Mobley. You keep Jared Allen. You've seen the damage that LeBron has done with Tristan Thompson in pick and roll. You pair him with two of the best roll man in the game, another guard that can give you 25 and 10 a night. And oh, by the way, a coach that players love in JB Bickerstaff maybe gets to play Kevin Love if they extend him for like
John,
$5
why,
million,
John,
the
John,
veteran
let me
minimum
ask you
even,
a question. Let me ask you one question. Why did LeBron go to LA?
to get a championship, to stay
No,
in
no,
Los
there were two
Angeles.
reasons. There were two reasons. Yes, you hit on one. What was the other reason?
He wanted to be in Los Angeles.
For what reasons? Hollywood, his brand, his business. He's not going back to Cleveland.
It's
He
for
gave
one
him that
year.
The
championship.
Cleveland show is
He's not
over,
going
John.
back. He's
I
not
don't
going back.
believe it, my man.
He
I
went
don't. I
there.
think the
He
story can
did
be
what he had to
written.
do. He won his championship. The next time I see him in Cleveland is when he's signing a 1 day contract to retire at Cavalier, and that's it.
That's it. LeBron's he's going to be in LA the next 2 years. I firmly believe, and we will see in the months to come. I firmly believe the Lakers have a move in their back pocket that they are working on and that they're going to pull off, and that's good. Everybody's going to look at it and say, okay.
Listen, it's funny. So we're talking about this. 55 minutes ago, I got a ESPN notification. How Jalen Rose and Matt Barnes were talking about a possible Cleveland reunion with LeBron, and Jalen Rose doesn't see it as likely, but Matt Barnes suggests that playing with Bronny might factor into that decision. So maybe they both end up in Cleveland back home, but I don't I don't see it.
I gotta be honest with you, dude. There's more to write in the story with the Cavaliers, and I think the ending of his career would go so much better playing on the Cavs than on a Lakers team that, quite frankly, is not a contender. I know we can say this and we can say that about Anthony Davis. The team is not good enough around them. I thought some of the offseason moves they made were fine. We talked about Lonnie Walker briefly. That's a 1 year. If he has a great year, he's gone. If he has a bad year, they decide a player, quite honestly, doesn't really fit with what they need. They need shooters. They need a Contavious Caldwell Pope that can just be a 3 and D type guy. And Lonnie Walker really isn't that. He's an isolation player more than anything
Okay.
else. So, yeah, I'm going with the Cavaliers every time when it comes to what is the best place for him in his career.
So you could pick one team to see him go to in this, let's say, 1 or 2 years away from Bronny showing up. If you could pick one off the top of your head, John, I guess you're gonna say Cleveland that you'd like to see him go back to. Unless you have a different answer, I'll swing it to you. But I want to hear just right away. Where do you want to see LeBron?
Cleveland won. To Orlando. Why are
Your
you looking at me like
love
that?
for Orlando. You have this love for the Orlando Magic that I find hysterical.
They're in an awesome situation. Markel Fultz this upcoming season is going to be, I'm telling you, he's going to have a strong season. But more importantly, they have one of the best forward tandems in the NBA between Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero. Paulo, immediately to me, he reminds me so much of Chris Webber. I think he's going to be giving you as a rookie 16, 7, and 4. And Franz, he is 6'10", and he can do just about everything. Whatever you want as a shooter, ball handler, passer, pick and roll ball handler, defender. He has all of the traits. He has, to me, a little bit of Paul George, but he's not as good of a shooter and he has less athleticism. I think if he could be a worse version of Paul George, and again, a baby Chris Webber plus Wendell Carter Jr., who's already one of the better centers in the NBA. Jamal Mosley is another coach that players like. Quite honestly, they could be stacked in the front court with LeBron coming in. Who knows what's going to happen with John Isaac? But I think with those 3 or 4 core pillars they have, plus Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony as their sixth man, That's a really good spot for him, and he can make Orlando a free agent destination by going there. He can turn that franchise around and store some luck that has never been there for that organization outside occasionally getting the first
I
overall
think
pick.
Brandon and I can agree. So you remember Brandon when we had this conversation about like mid franchises? The Magic come to my mind automatically.
Orlando are mid. They're mid. They're
But it
mid.
crashes or burns. There's no middle ground with them, quite frankly. I'd say there's two and
It
a half,
always
3 years of
crashes. It
boosh.
always crashes in the
Yes, they
end.
can't be mid. They're either, oh, wait, we have Shaq, we have Dwight. It's pretty darn good. It's, you're killing us, you're
But guess
torturing us.
what? Every time. But again, you have Shaq, you have Dwight. But guess what? You lose Shaq and you lose Dwight.
Completely different regime. Sure,
Yeah,
ownership's
but
still
they've
there, but front
lost. It
office
doesn't
coaching.
matter. It still carries on because it's the franchise history.
But part of LeBron's legacy can be changing that and turning Orlando, which is an awesome metropolis, into a legitimate free
You're
agent
not. Listen.
destination.
You're preaching to the freaking choir about Orlando. I freaking love Orlando. I've been there 10 or more times. All right. I love Orlando. It's an incredible
I
place.
don't.
I think. I think Orlando. I think
Magic
Orlando.
fans be coming after you, my boy. They're not
Did
gonna be
you
happy.
wait, Justin? Did you say you're not a fan of Orlando?
Not even the city. No, I go there.
Have you
I
ever
go to
been?
Universal and I bounce. That's all I'm there for. I'm not
How
spending
many times have you been to Orlando?
about like six times.
All right. Well, I don't know. I've always had a pretty great time when I was in Orlando.